morning, everybody. I thought I'd give you a little update of what I've been up to. Brace yourself, it's a little underwhelming to look at and actually doesn't represent the sheer amount of hours I put in. So today is the 10th of, what month are we in? I can't even remember anymore. And we moved in on the 28th. So we've been here about, what, 12, 13 days or something. On day 1 and 2, I was mostly just moving boxes into the right places and stuff like that. And then ever since then, I have not stopped. Been working from like 7:30 in the morning to about 10, 11 p.m. And I'm lonely. I've kicked Sarah out. Now, the reason is, this house is like a 1920s house, right? So there's lots and lots of paint on paint on paint on paint on the woodwork and stuff. Now, unfortunately, you kind of have to just assume that any paint pre-1970s is lead-based paint. Now, that's not the end of the world if it's safely covered, you know what I mean? If it's lead-backed paint and then it's had more paint put on it and on it and on it, then that's not such a problem. But in a lot of places, that paint's flaking off, and that can be really dangerous. Now, lead poisoning is a terrible thing. Like, it really messes you up. So, but it's also much, much, much worse in children and unborn children. And so I have decided to take all the paint off everything just to be safe, basically. But that means Sarah can't be here at all while I'm doing it. Now, I am wearing a full face mask while I do it because it's, you know, safer. It might not look like I've done much, but actually I've not stopped. It's just really hard to get the paint off things because it's so like on there. So I've been using this heat gun down here, and I have basically done just about all the woodwork in the house. So this dado rail here, I've done all of this, and I haven't quite finished this door frame yet. As you can see, there's paint on the inside of this door frame, so I've got to do that. I've done all this, follow that door frame up there. Now, I was going to do the actual door itself, but as you can see, we have stained glass windows in it, and they're beautiful, but they need repairing. So all it would take with my scraper is one false move and I'll go through it. So I'm thinking that actually I'm going to get that restored, and while it's out of the window being restored, then I will do the door. And I also might get stained glass up there, because quite a lot of the houses around here have beautiful stained glass in that little top section with the door number on it, and it looks really pretty. So I might wait to do that. Anyway, continuing with what I've done, more scraping here. I took the carpet off the stairs, partly because we have these beautiful banisters. Look at how lovely they are. Once I've sanded them and oiled them and finished stripping, they'll look wonderful. But I also need to strip the spokes as well. And of course, you can't get too far down without melting the carpet. Also, everything I was scraping off was just landing on the carpet and then getting like ground in. And of course, that's bad news, because the minute you step on it, it releases more dust. So actually much easier to clean hard floors. So I've lifted the carpet on here. We have actually really beautiful stairs. Again, I'm gonna have to strip all the paint off them, which is annoying. I have stripped, again, all the dado rail here. I've done this door. I've actually had, as well, these windows open just non-stop, just to kind of keep the air flowing and the place ventilated. And when I'm here working downstairs, I've got the front door open too, just to kind of keep air circulating. Again, another door there, stripped. And then these two doors here. One thing is, right, I realised that solving one problem leads to 6 more. For example, these doors look so cool now that they're stripped back, and they will be beautiful when they're painted, but there's a big crack here, and there is a big hole in here which was filled originally, you know, 100 years ago when the building was made, but clearly time has taken its toll, so I'm going to have to refill all that. This room, pure carnage, as you can see. So I kind of got carried away really in this room. I think we've decided this will be the nursery after all. It was initially going to be my office, but I think I'll have the smaller room as my office, just simply because I'm not going to grow anymore, and our little baby won't be very small for long. So at some point she's going to need like an actual bedroom rather than a nursery, so I think we'll just kind of use this for her. But there's not plaster on these walls, there's like lining paper. And it was in such bad condition, only in one part of the room, that I pulled at it and it was just so much of it came away and I was like, oh bugger, now I've started. So just kind of kept pulling and pulling, and then, you know, this happened. I'm kind of down tools on this for now because I'm focusing on the paint stripping first. This isn't quite so important, I don't think, so I'll come back to this afterwards. And I'll have to get this room replastered, I think. I also think I might need new windows, which is not in the budget and not cheap. These windows are really beautiful, but they have seen better days. In fact, this is probably the one in best condition. It's got a crack here, which is not the end of the world, but they aren't in great nick, and actually on the outside they're more rotten than on the inside. They've been there for a very long time. And the window in the back of the house, so the one in this room here and the one in what will be my office, are actually in really bad condition. This one is actually coming away from the wall entirely. I don't know if you can see this, but can you see that? It's like a big crack. And it's on the other side of the window. If you look from the outside, it's kind of going through both ways. So essentially air can just get through that gap. So they need replacing, which was not in the budget, which is a shame. But I mean, I have to prioritize. I can't sort of, you know, I have to do it at some point. And I'd rather, in a way, if I can afford it, do them all in one go rather than do them in stages, because of course they take the window out, it damages the wall. So if I'm going to have to get someone to repair the walls, I'd rather they just do all of it in one go. Those ones aren't so bad actually, but the ones at the front, because they're beautiful bay windows, are not cheap. Also, I have dismantled the shed that was in the garden behind me. I mean, I need a lawnmower. that lawn is in a disgrace. But there was a big shed at the back, but it was so rotten that I kind of poked it and it started like, the whole thing wobbled. So I took it down, and I'm ashamed to admit that I have just like a rubbish pile at the front of the house here. I don't know where else to put it for now, so there's a shed in there. There's also a bin shed that was at the front, and just loads of detritus that I've been sort of getting rid of as we go. To be fair, I will hire a skip, and I'll get rid of it all properly, but I'll also get rid of that bush or hedge, or at least trim it right down, because it blocks all of the light in the living room here. This house has really beautiful light. I mean, even now it's really grey, gross, rainy day, and it's still pretty. In here though, quite dull. As you can see, the light just changes. But that's because, a lot of the reason, is because that hedge out there is just too high. It blocks all the sun out. So, yeah, we'll do that. Oh, and last thing, my builder, who has done work on my last two houses actually, whom I love, he's great, is going to draw some plans to extend out to sort of that line there. So that's one of those things that will take a while. So we want to get the house finished before the baby comes, obviously, because I don't want any building work going on once she's here. However, because obviously you've got to go through planning, permission, etc, 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 that won't happen until well after she's here. But it also won't take so long, because essentially, it's actually much cheaper than I was expecting. There's a couple of ways of doing it. Either they totally reorganize and they take out this big arch behind me here, and do it that way, which will cost a fortune. Or they simply just sort of build onto the end of it, which actually isn't so bad. So that's one thing that I think we will do. So we'll leave this kitchen as it is for now, I think. Get those plans drawn up and then work on them. That's all. I'm a bit lonely, I must confess. I talk to Sarah constantly, but I could not live with myself if she came here and got either herself or the baby ill, because of all the work I'm doing. You know, we moved into this house for it to be a family house, and I can't kill my family as the first thing we do when we get here. So yeah, just got lots to do. At the moment, it's just elbow grease and time and effort. And unfortunately, you don't see a great deal for your efforts because it takes so long and it's quite painstaking, but will absolutely be worth it at the end, I'm sure.